about it sometimes boggles our imagination. All the ministries moving forward, all the family ministries and the social ministries and Gawad Kalinga and the 7 pillars, the realization is that it is the Lord who will allow things to happen, and we are merely instruments, and therefore one of the things we need to do is really to strengthen our relationship with the Lord, to strengthen our own prayer time, to allow us to really be faithful to that covenant, part of our covenant that says we need to pray for at least 15 minutes every day. But I think you will agree with me, 15 minutes is really never enough. And particularly the past few months where we have been having these very exciting times, you know, we have really become a very prayerful community. And I thank you all for your prayers because we all love this community, and many of us have gone down on our knees and prayed. Many of us have prayed a rosary, many novenas, and globally, we have just become even more prayerful. But we'd like brothers and sisters to retain and sustain that posture. And individually, we would want that every member of CFC to grow deeper in our prayer life. And one of the things that we have explored, we have started to explore, is for us to learn contemplative praying. I don't know if you've heard of contemplative prayer, but I've heard of it before, but I've just been introduced to it, particularly at these very dark moments in the past few months. And a Carmelite nun introduced us to this, and by the way, from Zamboanga. Yeah, Sister Mary Niere, well, she's not from Zamboanga, but she is in the Carmelite monastery there. And she's been going around the world to teach contemplative praying, and it is a prayer that brings us even more deeply into our relationship with God. And we believe we had a 2-day recollection with her, with some of the leaders in Metro Manila, and the feedback was very positive. And then we would like now to move on this one. I was also affirmed when we were in New Jersey. Our spiritual director there, Father Paul Liman, in fact, was very happy to hear me say that, because he has been really pushing for that and saying that charismatic groups are really contemplatives too. Although it might sound like, contradictory or, being charismatic and being contemplative, but he said no, charismatics are really contemplative. And when we look at it also, there is really no conflict, because when we gather as a body, we are able to really worship with vibrancy and with all the singing and the clapping and the vocal worship. But when we are alone in our quiet time with God, we can really be contemplatives too. And I hope this is something we can really move forward globally. The second item in enhancing our own prayer life is well, we have always talked about this, but never quite gotten around to really establish on a more solid footing and really widespread formation to learn and understand the Bible more. So, in other words, a Bible study course. Now, we will not reinvent the wheel when there is a Bible study course in the parishes, because there are some parishes who carry this course already. And what I'd like to suggest, if your parish carries this Bible study course, then we should encourage all our members to go through that and take that Bible study course. Where there is none, we hope to establish also a program for us in CFC to serve those who may not have that program in their own parishes. But we have made preliminary initiatives with the bishop in charge for Bible study, and hope that things will develop from there. Then the third point, brothers and sisters, this is a 7-point direction for the CFC Council. One is really maintaining our mission and vision. Secondly is growing deeper in our relationship with God. Thirdly, as we deepen our relationship with God, we know that it's never enough. That part of the great commandment is to love God with all our heart, with all our mind, with all our strength, with all our soul, but also to love our neighbor as well. And we cannot really say we love God unless we also show our love for our neighbor. That's why we in community, within CFC, are blessed with just the opportunities to do this. We start with our nearest neighbors, our respective spouses and our respective children, and we would like to enhance the love among family. And for couples, for example, we have the Marriage Enrichment Retreat, the MER. I'm sure you've taken that, MER 1, but there's also an MER 2. But we hope to continue MER 3 and so forth, because the relationship between spouses never, we need to continue to be nurtured along that, to strengthen that relationship. In terms of the family, we started many years back, but it didn't quite take off, a family retreat together with our children. I hope to look at that again and see what adjustments can be made to make that a regular feature also of our life together in community. Okay. Loving neighbor also means going beyond our own respective families, but the community where we move in, and this is where evangelization comes in. I believe that evangelization and sharing the Word of God to our neighbors is probably the best way to express our love for them, when we bring them to a relationship with the Lord, bring them into a life that is lived in accordance with God's ways and God's plan. And therefore, evangelization should be given a push. We should always be evangelistic in our own mindset, and do the evangelization whenever the opportunity opens itself. And I know you are starting here in North Carolina. I believe you are in, what, three areas? Yeah, 4. Well, I know you'll strengthen each of these areas, but then I hope from these 4 areas you will continue to branch out to 2 more. And I know that you'll figure out a way to really go all out in evangelization. And really, when we follow the formula we had in the 1990s of just bringing one other couple to a CLP, if you assure that every member does that every year, that is really doubling every year. And we were experiencing that in the first half of the 1990s. We saw CFC grow in number, doubling every year because of that simple formula. And I believe that is something we can really also just use as our guide. But I'm sure you can also do more. Let me share some of the things we're doing in the Philippines in evangelization. Of course, we're doing the usual CLPs in the parishes, and that will continue. That will never go out of style. But what we're saying is that we should open our minds there to other